Hello, welcome back. Once again, this is Becca, going by Netcat or Netcat's Meow Win Online, and welcome back for another week talking about Linden scripting language. Now, last week I talked about how to make more of a role-playing tool out of the transmitters I was talking about, and this week we're going to start to talk about how to actually do that, and we're going to use it to deal with a couple of different things you can do to control communication so that it's useful even if you're not so much of a role player. So the first thing we're going to create is going to be your CommServer. Which you're going to want to have a few different groups. Integer, group 1 equals -125, semicolon. Integer group 2 equals -250. Integer group 3 equals -375. You can set these to pretty much anything you want. I'm just setting them to these specific groups because I find it convenient to do so. And integer group 4 equals -500. That's a specific reason for that. Listen. Negative group 1, because we've already declared group 1 is the same as typing in -125. Communicator. No key, because we have no way of knowing exactly what the key is going to be, and 2 blanks here, or 2 quotation marks here, because we don't know what the message is going to be. So that tells it to listen to any message that comes in from a device labeled communicator on group 1 channel, which is -125. We do the same thing for group 2, group 3, group 4. Now we just create a standard listen handler. There we go. So what you have here is, if it receives communication from group 1, 2, 3, or 4, it has different handlers for each group's communication. So what you're going to do now is set it up if it receives on groups 1, 2, or 3. Region say group 1 that would just set it out on the same channel, though. If somebody's standing next to you that happens to be on the same channel, they're going to hear it when you say it. They're going to get it through their communicator. as it's sent on channel 1 by your or group 1 by your communicator, and they're going to hear it again when it's sent by channel 1 by the communicator relay or the communicator server. So what we're going to do, 150. $275. 400. And the difference here is, for the last one, this is going to be kind of an all call. We're going to set it to go off on everybody's channels. And remember, appreciate your semicolons. Alright, so with that set, we now need to activate the communicator. We're going to copy the same group scheme over here. We're actually putting this in a separate little container here. Group 1 plus, I'm sorry, it's all in negative numbers, minus 25. We know what it's coming from. It's coming from the CommServer. We do not know the key for the CommServer because though I could get the key for it here, if I drop it back in world, it would wind up with a different key. If somebody were to make more than one of them, then they would have different keys. So these are being made to work anywhere, any when. So actually that isn't an issue. So listen for any one of these groups. And we're going to tell it that it is in group 1. So integer group equals integer, since it's automatically stored as a string, so we're pulling it as an integer. Get object description. If group equals 1, listen on group 1. If group equals 2, if group equals 3. This way you can simply flick a switch on each one and set yourself to the correct group. You can change the group identifier to whatever you want. I like running it as an integer because it saves me the trouble of treating the thing we're comparing as a string. That's really the only reason. It's just one less little thing to futz with. And integer debug equals true. If debug owner say group type mismatch where? Yep, because I declared it an integer, so I need to declare it back to a string. There. It says we are currently part of group 1. And touch start. Now, if you want to be able to, in this case, we're going to want to have a listen be able to be turned on or off. The way to do that is we create an integer, cast shortened from broadcast. Don't mind that extra clicking. My cat is thinking she can get in on the video making. I love you dearly, you fuzzy one, but I don't think you have much to contribute here. Oh, poor snoofle cat. Poor sneezy cat. Now go on. I will pet you when I'm done recording. I will pet you all that you want when I'm done recording. Alright. Sorry about that minor felis interruptus. So we would have cast equals listen 0, comma if chan equals 0. And actually, if you look up here, there's a bit of an easier way I could have done all this. And it would actually work in my favor rather well. Did not think of this before now, otherwise I would have done this differently before. But if group actually that is the reason I had to keep changing that is because I'd used all the other names in other places. Ping equals group 3. Alright, what I just changed is I went up here, added a new integer placeholder, ping. I changed its name a couple of times because chan, I customarily use in the listen. Group, I used here as part of running that. So, ping, it worked well enough. So, now when you establish group 1, it sets ping to equal the negative 125 because of group 1, or negative 250 for group 2, what have you. So instead of going through and having different listens that are set to adjust the ping the exact same way that I had it set in the broadcast server, I went ahead and just had ping set that, which is controlled through here. The reason this is important is because down here, region say, ping, I can just go ahead and automatically send the channel that your communication device is meant to broadcast based on whatever ping is set to. It cuts down on the number of things that I have to deal with, the number of variables to play with. It just condenses everything rather nicely. And why did I type that out like a listen? Because my cat showed up and got me distracted with her adorable fuzziness. So, in this case, if it's listening on channel 0, which it can only do if cast is set as a listen channel 0, listen remove, cast. Semicolons. Always remember your semicolons. Now, if I send this, it should automatically receive we got no sign of receiving. So we're going to activate debug over here. What do I say? Channel. Forgot to declare that as an integer. Oops. Okay. It did in fact receive on channel -125 a message of test. This is good. This lets us start to debug back to what went wrong. I've told y'all many a times, a decent coder can make the code. A great coder can figure out why that code didn't work and fix it. Alright, so if Chan equaled group 1, it should have released a region say on -150. So, let's put a debug call inside each of these. This way, we can clearly tell if it processed through there. Yep. So, the problem does not appear to be there. The problem appears to be in here. With debug on, we're going to find out. First though, test. Nothing happened. Click. Test. Ah, I see what I see. I jumped the gun a little bit. I forgot to actually have it do something with the message. Okay. Silly of me. Definitely very, very silly of me. Yep, exactly as anticipated. It then proceeds to whisper back the test. So, if I were engaged in a conversation somewhere, that would automatically relay that to me. Let's change that to group 3. And group 1. Test 1. That is creating just a basic multi-channel thing. You could give out non-modify devices to go on the HUD, so they're easy to click. For people, they would then be able to send messages to different channels. You then have a supervisor channel they can go through and broadcast to everybody. This is a convenient way of dynamically changing which people in a given environment receive what messages. If this is a roleplay environment, this is a good foundation for building a RP interactable communication server. You can get a lot of interesting possible plot elements out of dealing with that. If you're running an event, this is a possible way to quickly set up something where people can be brought on and off of certain notifications based on being present and actually dealing with things. If you don't want to have it be a case where you're added to a group chat. And some people's groups can be full. So if you're talking about people that are involved in a lot of things, this may be a way to be able to ensure that everybody can be part of whichever broadcast they need to be a part of. So next week I can go in and actually expand the functionality of this a little bit, show how important messages can be turned into drop-down boxes so it's not something you can miss, so that something that comes from, like an all call, all staff need to know this, that can wind up coming out in a text box that'll drop. I can then also show you a little bit more flourish just to make it easier to work with the devices. That's that. This is this. Good day. Good luck. Happy coding. And I'll see you next week. New videos by Tuesday, noon Eastern Standard Time. Also, be sure to check out the Discord channel. I'm working on growing the participation in that, and has already been cases where one of my videos is a direct result of questions asked on the Discord server. So I do pay attention. It does get responded to. Simple stuff I'll tell you there. Bigger, more complicated stuff, or things that I think would benefit more people, I'll do entire videos on. So that's that for now. Catch you next week.